The echo in the cabin. There's a unique kind of peace found deep within the wilderness, away from the constant hum of cities. The air feels purer, the silence deeper. For some, it's an escape. For others, it becomes a canvas upon which the truly inexplicable can paint its terrifying picture. Tonight, we journey to a remote cabin, nestled in the heart of an ancient forest, where the only sound for miles shouldn't have been a voice. Our story introduces Alex, an experienced solo hiker. He'd spent years seeking out the most secluded trails, finding solace in the profound quiet of nature. This time, his destination was an old, rustic cabin, miles off the nearest marked path. Accessible only by a grueling, multi-day trek, it was meant to be the ultimate retreat. Just him, his thoughts, and the whisper of the trees. He arrived late in the afternoon, rain already beginning to fall. The cabin was exactly as described. Small, sturdy, and utterly isolated. He lit a fire, unpacked his minimal gear, and settled in, feeling that familiar sense of calm wash over him. The wind howled gently outside, and the rain began to drum a steady rhythm on the wooden roof. Perfect. As darkness truly enveloped the forest, the rain intensified, turning into a deluge. Alex was reading by the firelight when he heard it. A faint whisper. It sounded like his own name, carried on the wind, just at the edge of hearing. Alex. He paused, lowering his book, and listened intently. Only the rain and the wind. He shook his head, just the sound of the storm playing tricks on him. But the whispers returned. Sometimes it was his name again, sometimes indistinct murmurs, like two people conversing just outside the cabin door. He'd opened the door, peering into the inky blackness and driving rain, but there was never anything there, just the impenetrable wall of the storm. He started to feel a prickle of unease. He was alone, miles from anyone. Yet the sounds persisted. They felt ... close. Too close for the wind. He began to sleep poorly. Every creak of the old cabin, every gust of wind, seemed to carry a hidden sound, a barely audible voice. He'd wake in the dead of night, convinced he'd heard someone call him, or even a soft footstep on the porch. He found himself checking the locks more often, though he knew logically no one would be out here in this weather, let alone looking for him. Then came the night the storm raged. Thunder cracked directly overhead, shaking the cabin. Rain hammered against the windows, a deafening roar. Alex was trying to distract himself, huddled by the fire, when he heard it, clear as day, from the farthest corner of the cabin, opposite him, where the shadows were deep, a distinct, childlike giggle. It was unmistakable. Not outside, not carried on the wind, it was inside. In the cabin with him, his blood ran cold. The laughter was innocent, playful even. But in that context, in that profound isolation, it was utterly horrifying. He snatched up his headlamp, his hand trembling, and swung the beam towards the corner. Nothing. Just shadows and the ancient wooden walls. He swallowed hard, his heart hammering. He called out, his voice thin, barely audible over the storm. Silence, save for the thunder and rain. Then he heard a new sound, a soft, deliberate dragging, moving slowly, steadily, from that dark corner, heading towards him. It sounded like something small, being pulled across the rough floorboards. Every fiber of his being screamed at him to run, but there was nowhere to go. He was trapped. The dragging stopped, and then, from directly behind him, so close, he felt a cold puff of air on his neck, came the whisper, "You're alone." Alex didn't wait. He launched himself forward, knocking over the small table by the fire, scrambling towards the cabin door. His fingers fumbled frantically with the rusty latch. his mind a blur of terror. He could hear the dragging sound again, rapidly gaining on him, accompanied now by that chilling, playful giggle. He felt a light, icy touch brush against his ankle. He burst out into the roaring storm, not caring about the torrential rain or the lashing wind. He just ran, blindly, through the mud and under the crashing trees. The image of that dark cabin and the impossible laughter within it burned into his mind. He didn't stop until he was miles away, soaked to the bone, but feeling a profound, if terrifying, relief. Alex never saw the cabin again. He never returned to that part of the forest. He still takes solo trips, still seeks solitude, but the profound silence of the wilderness now carries a different weight for him. He's learned that sometimes the true terror isn't in what you see, but in what you hear when you're utterly, undeniably alone. Because out there, in the deepest, most remote corners of the world, silence can be a lie. And sometimes, what echoes back at you isn't the wind,